That's all set then, Josh, yeah? Thanks for the fucking clap.
Is it all recording?
I'm glad we clapped that in just after that conversation we was having about pigeons. But yeah, no, cool. You comfy, yeah?
Yeah.
It's all set?
All good.
Apart from the mic being fucking...
That's so good.
Yeah, right in your face. But no, welcome back to another episode of the Average Joe's podcast. I'm here today with Harry, always. He hasn't got a microphone today because he fucked it up. Didn't you? You just can't be fucking trusted, mate. Do you want to say anything? Or do you want to say something?
Get the truth out.
Yeah.
No. I didn't do anything wrong. Basically, I didn't pack enough equipment. And when we've got here, like we've travelled 140 miles, 145 miles, 150 miles to get to Birmingham to interview the lovely Dan. And now I've realised, that one of the microphones is fucked. So I'm just going to sit this out because obviously George is the host, he's the main character. And I'm just going to sit here, just do what I do, looking sexy, and just let you take over.
Thanks. Guess that back, mate. But the key word is in there that you didn't pack enough equipment, so you fucked up. But yeah, Dan, thank you for coming on.
It's a pleasure.
The podcast. I know we just had a brief conversation about you saying that you don't often do these sort of things, so we appreciate your time.
No, don't be silly.
Doing it for us. I know we go back. We had quite a long cyber relationship. You could say that.
It sounds very sinister, doesn't it?
We online dated for a while. we did some online talking for a long time. Actually met you through Depop. I was like a regular customer of yours back in the day. You used to buy like a lot of vans.
Yeah, when you said to me we're going to speak about how we met, I was trying to pinpoint.
Yeah.
How did you come into my life?
No, I know.
I've been trying to get rid of you ever since.
Do you want to talk into the mic? I was a regular customer through Hooked on Depop. Bought like a lot of vans and those sort of things back in the day. Because you always had the great prices.
Yeah.
Always had the great prices.
Long time ago that was.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember the first time we met. Was it Crep City?
Yeah, I remember. We had the patters on the table, the MX-1s, I think.
Yeah.
You came with, I think, a partner at the time.
Yeah, still my partner. Yeah.
Yeah, fucking a long time ago.
Yeah.
And then you came to every shop that we opened as well, really, haven't you?
Had to come and show my support. And drop you off some stock. Always sold you stuff as well.
What was it, the day before we opened, probably, knowing me?
It was. I think it was your new Birmingham bullring store. I think, was it? No. Yeah, it was. Yeah, because, it was definitely the bullring store.
We were open, though. Were we open, or were we...
the shutters were still down.
Jesus, that was one of the worst shop fits of my life, honestly.
Was that stressful?
Horrific, that was. It was July, I think the hottest July on record.
It was hot, yeah.
AC completely broke.
That was it, actually. Yeah. The guys were in there trying to fix it.
Yeah, we're buying. Like, I've never even heard of water spray in a can. You ever heard of that before?
No.
Well, I must have bought about 40 bottles of that.
Just call you all down.
All week. Screwdriver in one hand and a spray can in the other.
Yeah.
But then Lee's a bit of a trek for you, so I'll allow that one.
Yeah. I was gonna say I haven't been there yet. But I will do. Mark my word, I will come and I will see the store because I've seen pictures and videos and whatnot, and it looks really good.
Yeah, I'd probably say that's probably the nicest in terms of aesthetic and the fleet. Nice glass frontage, really nice to be honest.
Yeah, it looks like you've done well with that one.
I think you see the evolution of time as you come on. Like
the first
definitely. One was like some crayons come out and we just drew on the wall for a bit in 312 with some crayons to the point where now we've got like colour charts and patterns and
No, absolutely. No, I remember the first like Nottingham store was only a Diddy one. It was really small in comparison to what you've got, what you've built now. But you was only in there for how long was you in there? You tell me. But
I think we signed around September time. Like last weekend in September, I think, 2019, I think. And then we traded all the way up till COVID, which was like June 2020?
Yeah.
Or no, a bit before, like May, maybe? Whenever that was, I can't remember. And then during that lockdown is when we then left that shop. Yeah, we outgrew it really quickly, as you're right.
You did, yeah. Yeah, and then you went into, it was only like a store or two down from there.
It's like 4 doors down,
to a nicer, bigger store. I've come down and visited both of them, but how did like so talk about how Hooked became a thing in the early days, because now it's obviously, is it Relic and Hooked or Hooked and Relic, which is
It's Relic and Hooked. They're like my official business partners. We sort of have they run the vintage side, I run the trainers and streetwear side, and then we have like shared resources in terms of staff and all of that sort of thing, and bills and etc. etc. And it's actually been really good in terms of helping sort of share the burden. I would never be here without those guys at the moment. Like the management of just people, and it's just challenging. So it's good to have that. But I started Hooked initially when I left university. I did criminology at university, and I really didn't want to do anything to do with it. And I'm quite conscious about business, about like my family, and I've had a business, so I've been business related around it, surrounded by it. But I'm always quite conscious about timing and stuff like that in business. And for me, when I left uni, I'd already been interacting on sort of social media and like buying and selling shoes. Dipping my toe on Depop, having a look, worked out that no one was actually selling any shoes on there. There was a lot of clothing, but there was no trainer seller hitting like at all. Then trying to work back and think, well, what sort of price point were people selling clothes on there effectively for? Found that, and then thought, right, how do I find shoes in that market? Went from there. I was doing all of that sort of thing to start with, but it was right time, right place, really. That app just started, Depop, when I kicked on.
Right.
It's in its really early infancy. So I got a lot of traction off the start. Started selling quite a lot.
Yeah.
That got noticed by Depop. Started getting invited to Depop. Started mingling in that crowd.
Yeah.
Getting my stuff pushed more. And that's where it sort of kicked off from there. Really, that's a shortened version of it. It takes a long time to get to that part, but it took a long time struggling and thinking, what's going on? What am I doing? But I just left uni with that idea. I spoke to my family about it. Said, this is what I want to do, and they just said, look, well, we've got a degree, you've got time.
Yeah.
Run for it now, and if it works, great, and if it doesn't, you're still young enough to go back to the drawing board and go again. You know? And that's why I just put all my eggs in the basket and not look back really from there.
What how quickly did your like Depop following start to grow? Because you don't really dabble with it anymore now, do you? Because of the size that the business has got to. But how quickly did it grow, and what did it kind of get to before you sort of phased it out?
It's like Depop is ever changing. Like it's very ever changing. You have to be aware of that. They always have a nice they shine on success stories, which is great. It's great for your brand, but also you have to think that flip the other side of the coin. When that comes on, you get a lot of embordiment from other people that are trying to step into your market there and carve their own little niche in the market. So it becomes very saturated, and a lot of sellers versus how many buyers are actually on the marketplace. But to get this is all the sort of evaluation that happened after time. I enjoyed like everybody does, when things are going great. You're not even thinking about plan B, C, or D. I was just creaming off Depop, getting invited to London, hang out, eat some pizza, have 3 beers, get the train back, send the expense to them to pay for it. I thought that's great. But like anything in business, it can come as fast as it can go, and the tap just sort of turned off.
From them or
no, in terms of just like sales, you know, in I'd say like in its pomp, I was doing like maybe like 11 to 1500 a week on there, and then after like it would decrease and decrease and decrease, and I'm always conscious about that. So I was thinking about, okay, well, how am I going to pick that back up? Because 1,000 a week anyway was good, don't get me wrong, and I was enjoying my life and doing like just having the freedom, but it's not going to sustain kids or a house or a mortgage or all of these things in the future. So I needed to scale up. But as I was thinking about how to scale up, the sort of sales were coming down on there. So to get to, it was actually a bit of a risk to take it from online to offline, because everyone's going the other way. They're coming out of stores and going online.
Yeah, 100%.
So for me, it was a gamble, but it was a calculated gamble, because my sort of product that I'm selling isn't in stores. It's not been in stores for a while.
Yeah.
It's never been. It's not in stores, and people want to try it on. They want to see it, and they don't want to get stung as well. There's a lot of counterfeit, and there's a lot of unaccountability for our sort of stuff. So
for people that won't know, like Hooked and Relic, because obviously we're from the south, and the majority of our following currently will be from the south, and all of your stores are in the north.
Yeah.
Just give like a brief description of like what you would typically see in your store.
Sure. So it's like a vintage streetwear store. So you've got a mixture of new and used on clothing. Same on footwear. So footwear as well. We've got all sizes. We have a bit of a sales mix where we've got some cheaper pairs, which, like you say, is sort of a nod to our past and Depop and how we got going up, and then we have a larger exclusive collection now.
Yeah.
And I've always been really trainer nutty, so like this was always my dream for me to open a trainer store, have sort of more the niche pairs like the Jordan 5s and the Olives and sort of all of that sort of thing that you see there. Like, that's
you showed
my
us
passion.
some cool pairs beforehand. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like my passion. So I've lost my trail of thought now in that regard.
No, that's right. Yeah, you was just saying about what you could typically find in one of your stores.
Yeah, so we got a mixture of older bits and bobs. I think the easiest way to describe it in a nutshell to some people, if they've seen like Round 2 online, you've got those guys in America. You could almost say that we're a UK equivalent to that sort of thing.
Probably, like, obviously not one of the only, but probably on a bigger scale, you are probably one of the biggest.
Yeah, I mean, you can make. There's a few that are in our ball pit. Obviously, the one that comes to mind immediately is Kick Game. They've been following us around. They're in Birmingham. They're in Leeds with us.
Yeah.
They're obviously in London.
Yeah, but because all of their stuff is new, isn't it?
Yeah,
new
they will specifically only deal with new
and expensive.
New. Yeah, they're hitting that demographic. You know, that's like we always like trappers and rappers sort of demographic, really, and then they've got a lot of music influence as well. So that's where they're going down, and they've got a lot of investment, to be honest. So to try and get in a fight with those guys is a bit stupid, to be honest. So we always we carve our niche anyway.
Yeah.
But
I was gonna say, like, I would put you like, if like knowing the two like companies, I would put you two like fairly separate.
Yeah.
Like they're doing their thing, like they're doing well. Like hats off to them. But yeah, I think like like you say, you've carved your niche like different to them, and I think what you're doing is. I think it's definitely for the whole like obviously everyone's trying to be that like upcycling like eco-friendly type of vibe moving forward.
Yeah.
And I think that's great for what you're doing because
it's beautiful, really. It really opens doors for you as well when your business is doing that.
Yeah.
Like you're hitting key buzzwords that shopping centres want to get on. The directors are hammering the shopping centre managers to get businesses in that fit in that ilk, and if you're in there, it's great. It's the key buzzwords right now, isn't it? Sustainability and.
I definitely think you do great down in the south if you had a couple of stores like I said, like Bluewater, Canterbury, some in like the London area. Definitely think that it's something that would pick up around those areas.
I agree. It's just like I was saying before. It's just the struggle of as I scale on my side for the footwear anyway. How do you meet that demand?
Yeah.
Everybody wants to buy the same. Everyone wants the same shoe. You give people variation. Like you've come in here, and the majority of the product is probably Redbox Dunks or Jordan 1 mids, which is probably 80% of our actual our market.
Yeah.
And the same with our Kick Game who we spoke about.
Yeah.
Same. They'll be selling probably around 70 to 80% of their sales is stock that comes from Foot Locker and JD.
Yeah.
And that's just a reflection of the customers and who's actually buying in these stores. People like, let's say me or you, who consider themselves a sneakerhead.
Yeah.
They rarely drop in to buy. They'll always come in and look and talk and spend time, but to buy, they'll always be up their mindset. And I'm the same, where you think I can probably get that myself online. So who do you cater for in terms of the selling then?
That's very true. Yeah, because I'll often do that. Like I'll go somewhere who will have a shoe that I want. But I think I know where to look to find it myself.
Sure, and most sneakerheads will be of the same school of thought. So then, how do you capture that sort of subculture group, which say they don't get representation, and I agree, and they want it. Yeah. But then make it a viable business to pay for everything that you need to pay for, because otherwise you're in a mess.
Yeah, no.
And that's the hardest thing, I think, for as we get bigger and bigger and bigger, is trying to hold on to what I believe Hooks is. Yeah. Make money to grow it and survive it and sustain it all. Yeah. And hold on to all of those core values, you know.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, go for it.
Shut the mic.
Pass your mic.
Sorry. One thing I'm just thinking of is, like, do you feel like as your business has grown and, like you said, you're accommodating them subcultures, do you feel like the culture around like sneakers and streetwear has changed? Where obviously where like there are a lot of resellers now, just like lads like when we used to walk into work, there'd be like, well, when there used to be like a drop at Foot Locker, say, there'd be like 3-4 kids like waiting outside.
Yeah.
Now there's thousands because people know they can just grab it and make a quick buck, or like just flip it really quickly. So, I mean, how does that affect you, like from a business perspective, in a sense of like growing your company and then, like you said, a catering for the people that are actually genuinely interested in it, instead of just because the way like, what I'm thinking is like, the main reason for this question is like obviously where you're essentially like you're buying product and then obviously make a profit on it, and I don't know how it works for you, but like a lot of these guys are buying at retail and then flipping it and making a profit on it. Does that affect your prices? I mean, how does that affect your business, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I think the big change that came to trainers was probably social media. That changed everything, because then you've got to get the information that you need in terms of stockists and drop dates. You had to have that relationship with the stores. You had to go in, spend time with them, speak to them. So as soon as you've got someone that goes in and does that, posts it on, so like this, any Facebook group, thousands of people on there, more eyes on it. It's always gonna attract more people. And as you said, like, it's got to the stage now where it's just unsustainable now, you know.
Yeah, because kids will go in and buy a Jordan 1 mid for £100, sell it for like £120, but that then sets the market for that shoe, doesn't it, at like £120? Like,
yeah.
So for you, if they're not going to come in and sell it to you for £100 what they just bought it for, do you know what I mean? So it's getting those people to come in and sell their stuff to you at a price that you can still make money on as well.
Yeah, it's a difficult challenge on that regard. Some of it is like you have to be prepared to just not touch it, just leave it, and not, you know, that's the thing I have to teach all my staff is learn to say no. It's not a problem. It's not the end of the world. There's lots of product that comes out. There's so much shoes that come out. If it doesn't make sense, leave it.
Yeah.
But a lot of the resellers are sort of, they're happy to take £10 to £20 in some of the regards, quick flips. You have that relationship with them. Like, it's naive to think that they're going to be there. You can't change that. Yeah. So you have to accommodate them. You have to work with them, and then you have to make it a two-way street. They need to be accommodating to you and help you as well. You know, like, because it's a very easy service. You go down to JD, Foot Locker, you buy the shoe, you walk up the escalator, you come in my shop, we'll pay you out the same day. You made £20, you're done. Yeah. You go home then. But then once you start doing that, everyone knows. And then before you know it, all you're doing is paying £20 out all day for people and shoes, and you've got to draw the line in the sand somewhere. Yeah. That's a challenge for me in terms of the buying side.
Yeah.
But it's difficult.
Was it hard for you to give up control of the buying side when you started opening multiple stores?
Yeah, definitely. It's still to this point now is a contentious. It is a contentious issue in the company, just because of the nature of the product, the price that you make. When you get it wrong, it goes really wrong. You know, like we get a couple of fake shoes. Let's say like it could be £800. You just down the drain, or they get bought as real, sold onto the shop floor thinking it's real, and genuine mistake, and they're fake. Then that can also damage reputation and brand and everything that you built up. And for me, sat here, I might not have even touched it, seen the product, or seen any, or done anything in terms of the buying. Yeah. But it's my name over the door, so the buck will stop with me, you know.
Yeah, of course.
That is difficult. And then you flip it the other way in terms of, like, for me, I can't really go into, like, when there's new drops and stuff coming out, I can't go to size and buy stock.
Because they know you as well.
Like in certain places, like particularly here, not if Leeds and Nottingham, it's better. But here, being here a long time now, if I go in there and buy stuff, unfortunately for me, it turns into a headache to the point where I just can't do it anymore. Yeah. And that's a shame in that regard. Yeah. Because, like I was saying to Harry earlier, my favourite thing about being in the shops and my business was meeting people like you. We have that shared interest in that product. Yeah. So I really wanted to capture that, have sort of stuff that I would like to see, and hope that brings other people in there. But like you're saying, there's just such a new age of people that come into this trainer now, the trainer world, the subcultures, and they come in for different reasons. Yeah. I'm not saying they're wrong or right reasons, but they're in for different reasons. Yeah. They're in for the monetary aspect of it, which makes sense. I mean, there's a lot of literature and a lot of successful case studies out there. So there's a lot of people can see success.
Yeah.
And if you see that, they're going to go for it, aren't they?
Of course. Yeah. Absolutely. Now, as you started to grow the business to the scale that it's got to from the early days, how did that affect your like personal life as well? Like, have you got because I don't even know if you've got a partner.
No, I'm on my own.
Yeah. Have you always been, or is that because of business? And
yeah, no, I think like this year for me, like I was saying before, this year for me has been a big eye opener in terms of like personal life, like, and making time for my personal life, and having all of this tangible success is great, and having all of like stuff that people see on the outside, free shops, all of these things. But if I don't have that personal time for me, then it will all come crumbling down. And this year has been a big eye opener for that. Like, we've opened Brum last year in July.
Yeah.
And then we did that, and then September time we opened in Leeds. So I was living in Leeds, finished Brum shop, went to Leeds, did that, living in a hotel. So it is really difficult.
Yeah.
It's like you can never feel like you can turn off. So you're always focused on it. You always feel guilty if you're not putting everything into it that you can to make it a success. But then how do you find that balance? I've not had any work balance for the last whatever time it's been until really recently, where I've sort of took stock of myself and like looked in and thought, because there's no point to all of this if I'm not going to be here to look after it, to see it.
Yeah.
It sounds very very morbid and very worst case scenario.
I think I remember when first time I met you in person, which was at Crep City. I want to say it was probably about 6 years ago, maybe something like that. I think you hadn't slept for something like 48 hours, maybe.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, maybe even longer. Yeah, and like you was in a table in that back room, if you remember.
Yeah.
I know you have so much going on, but yeah, you was in a table out in that back room. I remember just standing there talking to you, and I thought, you look fucking tired.
Yeah.
Like you look knackered.
Yeah.
And it's probably been like that since.
Yeah, since the start, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, even at the start, when I used to, before the Depop day, well, when I was on Depop, I wanted some money to start my business. So my dad said, right, well, he owns a dairy company. So he said, right, you come and work for me then. I'm not giving you any money, you come work for me. And I worked for him for 6 months. So I'd get up at 5, do a milk round with him till like 10 a.m, then go to a Nike outlet, buy my stock, take it home, process it, photograph it, put it on Depop, go ship it, go to sleep, go up and do that again. And I do that every day for a year to get to that stage. Yeah. I've always had that work ethic.
Yeah, I was going to say, that like burning desire.
Yeah, but at the same stage where I had to realise that I need to slow down in myself and not always be in pursuit of success, money, and just take time for me. Enjoy life, enjoy what I've achieved, take stock of it, be proud of it. Yeah. Not just keep like relentless pushing forward. But that's just me as a person. That's what I've always been like. Yeah. But at the same time, I've had to I've got loads of great business things, but struggle personally with some things. Yeah. So that's like I said, it's been a big eye opener this year. Yeah.
When you say like you struggle personally with different things, I mean, can you elaborate on some of those?
Yeah, just I guess it's the pressure, isn't it? It's a lot of pressure on your shoulders, a lot of anxiety, a lot of worry, a lot of sleepless nights thinking of, and even that, like I was saying before, and it's up until probably January was when I brought staff in terms of in the warehouse capacity. Everything else was done by me. So I'd work in the store, source the stock, and then I would go home and fix it all, and make it all make sense. But I can't do that anymore. You know, it was too much. It's getting too much in my body where I was just shutting down. I wasn't doing much. I wasn't being the best version of myself. I think that's the challenging. That's a really hard thing. You know, you see your success coming up, and you think, oh, I need to keep chasing it. And then once you get to a stage where it's at now, where it's bigger than I ever thought it would be, it can also be quite terrifying. To the point where you look around and you think, like, fucking hell. You know, like the man over there's got 2 kids, and like if I fuck up, there's a man over there with 2 kids and no job. You know, and that's not. And that shouldn't even be my pressure to worry about. But I think about that. I think about that a lot. And as you know, with our stuff, it's expensive. It's expensive as fuck to buy. and to hold and all of that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So you got worry continually, you know.
Yeah. No, I can imagine like the effect that would have on you, like personally, and how that would affect your personal life. Because, you know, even on a smaller scale, like when I was doing like Himes collectives, like even I would fucking worry about stuff, and it's nowhere near the scale that you're at. I had like my little shop in Canterbury that was £300 a month to keep open, and had all the shoes and stuff in there. But again, it's like, I've had them fucking shoes sat there for too long. What am I going to do to get rid of them? Like, thinking, I need to buy in new stock. Like, stuff hasn't moved for a little bit. But again, working a full-time job at the same time. So it was like a constant, like, and you doing it on this scale, I can only imagine.
It's like being on a roundabout. You just can't get off.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, I can sympathise with that, but on a smaller scale to what it must be like for you.
And it's happened so fast as well, hasn't it? That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, it's happened so fast. Like, from when you came to 2019 to where we are now, 22. We've got like maybe 40 people on the payroll, 3 shops, 1 warehouse, two warehouses.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, like, because the growth of like the Depop was pretty gradual.
Yeah.
To sorry, it's fucking
gassy
did
one.
it again,
The citrus notes
Yeah,
on the way back.
Yeah, the citrus notes. Yeah. Like it was pretty gradual, and then like you said, 2019, you opened the first store, and now we're 3 years later, a large pandemic in the middle of that, and you're 3 stores deep, probably. Well, you're looking at like other stores that are opening up and whatnot.
Yeah,
so.
We've got loads of opportunities lined up. We've got something with urban pop-ups. We had something with Selfridges in the pipeline, but it went cold. I think we sent out a tender pack in lockdown with sort of like that shop that you saw in Nottingham.
Yeah.
And we sent it out to all the centres, and we got every centre in the country like asked for us to go in. So we've got offers on the table, but it's just picking the right ones at the right time.
Like you said, if you're calculated with business, then
otherwise you just go straight in.
It's easy to get ahead of yourself in it and be like, let's go in all of them. Like, let's get everywhere. Like, let's branch.
Yeah.
But
well, I haven't got the money to do so. If some idiot wanted to give me it, I would. But at the moment, it's my own money I'm spending. So you want to always spend someone else's if you can. You know. It just takes stock of where you are and be mindful of that, and I don't try and get too ahead of myself in that regard. Like I said, it all underpinned from that fear of it all crumbling. Yeah. So I'm actually probably more step steady now than I ever have been. Yeah. At the start, I was probably a bit more slapdash, a bit more take a risk, but now everything has to be thought through, triple checked.
Calculated,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like just to touch back on the subject briefly, so was there any like key moments in those years that your mental health really suffered, or?
I think probably this year's been the worst for it.
Would you say this year's been the worst, but also the best in terms of like realising? Yeah,
for sure. It's been like I think boys always and men always learn more in mistakes, don't they? And how they and I've made a lot of mistakes, and I think I've always buried my head in my work. Yeah. Always, because it's always been there. It's always there. So if something's going bad here personally, I'll just put everything into my professional life and watch it grow, and then that's growing, and I'm getting positive remarks from there. So I must be all right. I'm good, because this is great. But I'm not actually focused about this either, because when you go home, you still got this part of your life, your professional life, it is there. You know, you can't be work not 24/7. Yeah. So this year it's been a sort of a call to arms to actually do something about it. I've had problems probably all my life without knowing about what it is or why it has happened. Yeah. I had tough childhood in terms of like parents split up, divorced, and my father had his own company and didn't see a lot of us as kids, and I didn't understand that as a kid. I didn't understand why he didn't want to see me. I thought it's my fault. But I guess having this as well sort of makes you appreciate why, or it gives you a different viewpoint as to why that happened. Yeah. And again, that sort of realization happened recently. So I've had all of that going on in childhood, But that's also in some ways has made me the person I am today, where I'm very, very fiercely independent and very driven, because I've just got on with shit since I was like 7, 8. I had my sister's a bit older than me, so we used to just look after each other.
Yeah. Do you have a close relationship with your dad now, or? and your mum as well.
Yeah, it's it's a difficult relationship in terms of like we have that common bond. We always will have that love for him.
Yeah.
But he's just a very reserved man. He's very chill. Keeps himself to himself.
Yeah.
He has his life. Obviously, he's got his business, and that is a full-time thing. And he probably, if he is honest with himself, finds it hard to find that balance that I do.
Yeah.
And I probably would say there's no coincidence that we both struggle in that regard.
Yeah.
That's probably my Wilmot genes that he's passed into me, unfortunately, in that regard.
And what about your mum as well?
Yeah, and mum, she's works NHS now. She's worked there for ages, and she's really supportive as well.
Yeah.
To both of them, to be fair, both of them are supportive in their own ways, in the regards where they never made me feel like what I was doing was stupid.
Yeah.
Or I felt like I'm wasting my time, or like no pressure to like, go and get a 9 to 5. The pressure like to get a job at the dairy was more about giving the value of money.
Yeah.
As opposed to anything else. But they would never stand in the way of what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
There's definitely been questions and times where they've thought, is it actually is it going to be worth it?
Yeah, is it sustainable? Yeah.
Is this going to pay for life and X, Y, and Z? And am I just wasting my time? But they've been supportive in their own ways, and I think the shops as well gave them that tangible success which they could hold on to. Yeah. And then they could show that around to other people, and it makes more sense for those sorts of people. But yeah, they've been great support. I think the main support throughout of it has been my granddad, which you've obviously seen a lot of.
Yeah, I was going to come on to that. Well, it perfectly follows on. He seems. I love the photos that you put up with him or of him. Like unboxing shoes or whatever it might be. Just talk about like what sort of like. Because he's obviously been a big part of it, and you can tell that, and you can tell that you're obviously incredibly close. Yeah. So just talk about what he has done for you and the support he's given.
Yeah, he's an amazing man. Amazing support for me, and amazing for my sister as well. He's just that rock. He's always been there. He's also the smartest man that I've known.
Oh, really?
He's so smart. I take him to Foot Locker, and he will do like I'll say, this is £67 and it's 40% off, and he'd be like, okay, there you go.
Yeah, it's this.
I was like, okay, you can come again. So he would come to that, and he'd always be involved in that. And when I came back from uni, my mum had a partner which I didn't see eye to eye on. Yeah. So I actually got kicked out of my house.
Okay.
And I was living at my granddad's after university. I found it really difficult to go from that independence at university and then go into a house which is not my home anymore. Yeah. With a partner, and we butted heads. It was two males in there, so I had to leave, and I spent all of that time starting Depop up at my granddad's house. So that's why we were always together. And I'd take him out if we go to anywhere. I'd take him, and he'd just come.
And he'd love it.
He'd love it, and then it just started becoming more of a thing. Like, who's this 83-year-old man with with Yeezys on? Yeah. And then we just carried on from there, and it snowballed from there. And people, everyone noticed that bond that we had, and he started getting invited to like Depop things and all sorts of stuff. But
that's amazing. Yeah, no, I do. I've seen like the photos, and like we said, like it's reminiscent of the fella and his granddad that he has on Instagram that are huge. JD, I think. They it's the same sort of
double act.
Yeah, that's it. But no, it's wholesome, and it's nice that you had that support back up almost when you needed it, especially like when you said like when you left the house. For sure, and he's always been there for all of us, to be honest. I include my mum, my sister, and all of that. So he is he's probably the cornerstone of our family. Yeah. And as like being the only male left in that family, I guess another pressure for me that I took on my back was that I need to work my nuts off to be the provider for my family when I'm older. Like anything I wanted in my life, he if I needed it and it made sense, he'd buy it for me, obviously. Yeah. And I was always of the school of thought, like, I need to be that person for my family. And it's only recently when I was speaking to my sister about it more, it was like shine the light on it. It was more important that what he gave us more than anything about his money was his time. He always had time for us. And I think that's sort of more the shift that I've had in this like last year, where all of this is like, I need to make a great future for me and look after everything. Yeah. But now, like, I'm actually more excited about the fact that if this gets to where it needs to be, it gives me the time and the freedom to do what I want to do in my life.
and that's probably more important to me than the money that will come from it. You know.
Do you spend a lot of? Well, I guess at the moment you probably haven't got a lot of spare time. Is that something that weighs on your mind as to like?
Yeah.
He's given up. Well, he might not have given up a lot of time for you, but he's given you a lot of his time to help you like grow. Is that something that you want to like pay back in terms of like spending time with him?
Yeah, for sure. You always feel guilty in that regard. I think.
Yeah.
It's difficult.
That's something that I've always felt like. You know, I've missed like family parties. Like, I've always been like a workaholic in terms of like, especially when I was at like. Not so much when I worked with you at Tasuti.
The truth will come out.
yeah, not so much then, but like if it wasn't Tasuti, it was Himes Collectives. Like I'd spend a lot of evenings down there doing what I needed to do. But when I was at Mercedes, like, I was putting in a lot of hours, missing a lot of like family parties, missing this, missing that, and like I know like my sister, like she spends a lot of time with my nan. Now, like my nan's the last one left, like in the older generation of the family, and it's like I constantly have that like guilt feeling that I'm not spending enough time with her. Yeah. Do you get that?
Absolutely, yeah. All in all aspects from my family, they want more from me in that regard, and I've been fortunate where I get that wide, but I get given that wide berth. But like you say, you look back and you think it is regretful, and it is a waste really, and you don't get that back.
Yeah.
But then you flip it the other way as well. You have to think about what you've sacrificed and what you've lost to get here as well as a person.
Yeah.
And like I basically like my whole 20s I've spent in a shed working basically, like with no fucking windows.
Yeah.
And you think, if I take my foot off the pedal, could I jeopardize and waste all that time as well? So sometimes you feel you're damned if you do, if you're damned if you don't.
Yeah, no, it's a great way of like, you can almost justify it to yourself in that way as well.
And I have for the longest time, but I think this year is where I've realised like it doesn't have to be me, myself against the world. Like I've got help now, and I've got somewhere where I can unload. And like if I go away for a week, the whole thing doesn't go to shit.
Yeah,
and that's for the first time. That's a nice feeling to have.
Yeah.
And that allows you then to sort of relax more at home and not feel guilty for spending time with them.
Yeah.
Because you know that everything's getting on here.
Yeah.
And that's that kind of freedom has been amazing for me this year.
Yeah.
But
just like having some time to just reflect and like really just like look back on like, or look over like what you've built and be like, one, like you can be proud of yourself. Like two, you can think, right, okay, I can start to start spending time with like my friends, my family, doing what you want to do. Like I see, obviously you had like pretty heavy weekends.
Yeah.
At the Villa game, was it this weekend? Was it Villa game?
Yeah, my friend had hospitality tickets. I'm a West Ham fan, so I'm not a Villa fan. That's probably why I went heavy on the beers. Used to a little bit better football.
Yeah. Yeah, it just takes the edge off of being there.
Yeah. You get so drunk you think it is West Ham, and the same colours.
Yeah, it roughly looks the same.
Yeah,
you squint.
It was nice. Like I said before, one of my friends is moving to New York, so he's life is sold at a party, so he's getting that 2 week send off at the moment. So we went to that, and it was nice to do those things. And like you say, just remind yourself that there's more to life than clothes and shoes. You know?
No, absolutely. But have we been filming for quite a while? It feels like we have, but
it's been about 45 minutes. Yeah.
Has it really? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Wow.
Time flies.
Yeah, no, well, I think that leads quite well onto... Is there anything you want to add? Sorry, I know you haven't got a microphone in front of you. Because I know like you're obviously like getting more into like your vintage side of things at the moment, and you're enjoying that. I didn't know if you had any questions to like go back on or...
No, I think everything's pretty much in covered. I mean,
Yeah.
from my perspective, it's a bit different, like what I'm trying to do anyway. So
Yeah. Oh, cool.
like I said about sustainability and stuff. I'll get them.
Yeah.
No, yeah, like from a sustainability perspective, like I'm trying to look at, well, first of all, fucking Depop closed down my account. So fuck you, Depop. Sorry, no disrespect.
There goes my sponsorship.
Yeah. But no, yeah, I mean, I think working in retail for as long as I have, like, you see brands come and go and like trends shift and change, and like you were saying, like sustainability now is like them key words that everybody's looking for, especially if it's just like on like the high street, like people that are like looking to buy a product that's got like a message behind it, instead of it just being like kind of throwaway fashion. So I think for me it's the same kind of stuff that you're kind of into, in the sense of like looking for a product that is sustainable, something that can be upcycled if you like, just give it that extra bit of life. But it's hard. I mean, I think at the minute I've kind of put it on the back burner anyway for myself, and just been focusing on the podcast. I mean, because I'm just a man behind the camera anyway. Yeah, like I'm the guy that does all the work that nobody sees.
The donkey.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I know how you feel.
The chauffeur. Yeah. So. Yeah, so I think hopefully I'll be at a level where you are. I mean, it's a bit different in the sense of that I'm not doing streetwear. It's a little bit more like vintagey, and I like what's that, like workwear kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, it's people like yourself that ultimately give people like me like that drive as well to get to that level. You know, like you can see what you've built up around you, and like I haven't been to your stores, but obviously George speaks a lot about you and what you've achieved. So yeah, I mean, all I would say is just. Yeah, just keep. I don't know what to say. Keep a bit of fucking motivation. I keep doing what I'm doing.
Keep going.
what I was gonna say.
Clip
from
that for me, George, and I'll just play it over and over. I'll put it in my AirPods.
Just
keep
on
going. Cheers, Harry.
Yeah.
Nah, I appreciate it.
What I was gonna say was I was hoping that, because like I said, what Harry's just said, like he wants to get into that vintage workwear space of upcycling stuff and whatnot. But I was hoping that you have put it on the back burner because of the podcast. I was hoping another thing to come from this podcast would give you a new drive to want to push that as well, which is hopefully what will happen. Like when we come off of the other end of this, because you do put a lot of time into, like, I'm going to kiss his ass a little bit now, but it doesn't happen often. Like,
you get comfy for this part.
Yeah, you pull that jacket around him. I don't know how to do things like this. Be nice to people, what? No, but like you do put a lot of time and effort into the podcast, the editing. Like it's relentless, like endless, like late nights. Obviously, you got the two kids to sort out at the same time. Like it's not easy, and I don't know how to do any of that. So I don't do any of it. I don't set anything up. I don't fucking. You've driven up here today. I don't do any of the editing. Like I don't really.
There's not much in the positive column at the moment, George.
This would be the worst CV ever. Yeah. Yeah. Shall I wear this? Like literally, I do fuck all. Like I just lead the conversations. I lead the conversations and I get the guests. That's pretty much.
Well, it's important.
That's what I do. But because of that, you have put other little aspirations or goals to one side. So where I haven't had to do that, so it is appreciated and it does go a long way. So thank you. Yeah. Emotional.
It's emotional.
Yeah.
Shall I leave?
Yeah. Josh, you got any tissues over there? Yeah. But no, well, I think that ties it in nicely. We do have a little tradition at the end where we ask the guests 5 questions.
Sure.
I've got a few in my head, actually. I forgot them and they're on my phone. So if we go off some of the original ones, one of them you actually answered in the podcast without thinking, but one of them is, would you rather have more money or more time?
Oh yeah,
but,
time.
Yeah,
time now.
You kind of said like time. Is very important. So
probably that's a shift change this year, definitely. But time. And once you've got the time, once you know how to start making money and you can make money and you've got a track record of doing it, if you've got time, you can find that easily. Yeah. That's a big difference where you can't make time. You can make money, you can generate money, you can find things like that. But you've got what you've got on time wise, haven't you?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a great answer. And one that Harry often asks as well is, what's something you wish you could tell your younger self?
Start sooner.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Start sooner. I mean, I went to university. I spent 3 years. Don't get me wrong. It was great for me in terms of it made me know what I wanted to do and what I didn't want to do. But if I knew that 3 years prior, then who knows where I'd be at this time. But obviously, everything happens for a reason, and you can't worry about those sorts of things. But if I had my time again, because I was always into clothes and shoes at school. Like I would always have like new shoes on, and I played a lot of football as well, and I'd get like Nike ID boots, and that's where it started from. I had to have different boots to everyone on the team, and if someone was similar, then I'd go get another boot and change it. And when that came out to start, like that was like Nike ID when it first came out was like revolutionary to me. It was like incredible. It was like, here's a Nike shoe with my name on it. Like, what the fuck? And I think I just built that from there. Yeah. And just carried on and just got obsessive. And I think what I've noticed is I'm quite an obsessive personality in terms of this. I even when I was younger, my mum always tells this story to everyone. That I used to go to the library and rent out this flag book, right? And I'd have this flag book on fucking loan from the library for like 6 months. And I'd just sit there as a kid looking through it and memorise everything. And like memorise every single flag. And even to the point today where like at shoes, like I've just got like that memory where I just can just hold shit. Yeah. And it just comes off. I just reel it off. I can prices, shoes, names, description. Like it's just.
I don't know why then. I was just about to be like Rain Man.
Exactly like that.
Not in a disrespectful way, but yeah. I was gonna say I don't know where that was. I was literally about to blurt it, but I thought, I'll try and refrain from saying that. Yeah, and then just
it just came out, didn't it? You try.
Couldn't hold it any longer. But yeah, no, that's. I'm trying to think. Do you remember any of the other questions? Like, if you want to fire any more. Yeah. Do you want to fire it off?
I can't remember it. It's not the question you would ask.
It is the question just usually ask. One that we've been asking everyone as well is what's one song that means a lot to you and why?
I don't really know, to be honest.
Are you into music and stuff like that?
I am and I'm not. Like my music, every bit of musical talent in my family went to my sister. every ounce. She can sing. She can play guitar, keyboard. I am so unmusical. It's a joke. Like my school report was like, tries hard but not very good. In essence.
Was that across the board?
No, it was just in music.
Just in music.
Yeah, I was actually quite good in school, but just in music. I can't fit. Do you know what? It's funny. I watched your podcast the other day and I thought, I hope those fuckers don't ask me that question. I ain't got a clue. Yeah. And I should have prepped really, shouldn't I, for that? Like a clown.
Yeah, that's it. We've asked nearly everyone, but I think we did forget it one time. But it's
I can't really. I think like a lot of like Kanye West album, like when as a kid, like that College Dropout album. Yeah. I always had rap, I guess, really, when I think about it. Like 50 Cent as a kid, Eminem. Yeah. But like my sister's obviously older. My granddad loves music. Those two have a great bond over music. And it was just something that I was never really... I was always on the side, like, looking through the window. Yeah. And when that party was going on, I wasn't invited. But, it was a very musical house, just I wasn't really involved in it. Yeah. Basement Jacks used to get pumped a lot in our house as well.
I used to love Basement Jacks, yeah.
Yeah,
that brings back some memories, actually. It's quite nostalgic, yeah. No, that is. We'll have to listen to that in the car on the way back.
There you go.
Yeah, so you've done us a favour there. Or me a favour.
Saved the answer.
Yeah.
Pulled it out at the last
minute. Another one as well, unpopular opinion.
Oh, God, I've got loads of those.
I guess last week, couldn't think of any.
Really? What did she go with in the end?
In the end, it was that she never liked Will Smith. No. Even before he slapped Chris Rock. Where most people like him.
Yeah, fair.
But she's never liked him. We've had that Breaking Bad isn't as good as everyone says it is. Yeah. And I think we didn't ask it
to Quincy.
We didn't ask it to Quincy, no.
I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head. Unpopular opinion. I do lots of things that's unpopular, especially at work. But in terms of unpopular opinion, I think I've got a fucking mind blank on this.
What about, is there any shoes that everyone like is bang on, but you're like, absolutely not?
Yeah, right, that's a good one. Let me try and think of one which won't alienate my whole customer base. And then Savage, and ruin the future.
Yeah, the future of
in that
it.
regard. I mean, it's a difficult one, but I actually don't like Yeezy 350s, and that's probably what the most popular Yeezys. I know you're wearing them today.
Josh literally has
George, you're going to have to take them off now.
Back on.
Yeah.
You have to take them off and walk barefoot now.
Yeah.
But I just don't like that on my foot. I don't like the way it looks, but it's sold a lot.
Yeah.
And also like I personally don't like the Jordan 1 mid either.
Yeah.
Which sounds ridiculous because that is literally
Probably the biggest selling shoe like in the world.
Yeah, that's why I'm here today. You wouldn't even be sat on these 3 pallets if it weren't for that shoe. And like that's probably come from a stigma of like being an older trainer head, like lows or highs. What's this mid? This is a new thing that's come through, and it's a lot of people's first entry to Jordan brand actually now. But it's become so popular. It's probably more popular than highs for us now.
Yeah, I was really surprised actually. I was watching on YouTube the other day. Kick Game went to Fredo's house. Did you?
Yeah.
And he had quite a few mids.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'll fuck with them, and that really surprised me.
It's really changed, bro. Honestly, like I was saying to the staff, like the mids when I first started, it's not just come out of the blue, out of nowhere. They've always been around. But no one wanted them. Like when I first started bulk buying, like if there's a pile of mids in my way, I'd kick them out the way to get to the NMD. Like get these terrible things out the way, and like where's the boost at? Like get the NMDs or Ultra Boost. But now like they're flying, and I've seen so many shoe trends. Like I'm like a bloody Gandalf with shoes. But I've been doing it for so long, like. I was around for like Blazer hype, then Huarache hype.
Yeah, I kind of like sorry to like cut in on just, but as you said that, I kind of got into it at the Huarache hype. That was me. Blazers were just before because I remember we worked in Choice in Bluewater, and was it you that had a yellow? No, I had a yellow pair.
I had a red and grey.
You had the red and grey, red, yeah.
I had 2 pairs, red and grey.
Yeah. I was gonna say you didn't have a red and grey pair like you had. Two different pairs, and I that got me into them, and then I had a yellow pair, and then
sounds lively.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. We were fucking living on edge then. I'd wear the yellow ones, he'd wear red ones. Yeah, we had fucking jawlines a lot.
Party.
Literally, but and then. The Huaraches is the first pair of shoes I waited up for till midnight. That was the can't remember the actual name of them, but it was the pink and blue.
I know the one you mean.
White ones. Yeah. And that's where it all fucking started from there.
That's like OG colour. Yeah, and it's you see these patterns and how it comes up and goes, and like Huaraches came and it was flying.
Yeah.
The NMDs came up and it was flying. But honestly, I would say that the Jordan 1 mid. It's unrivaled to anything. Like Dunks, obviously, this last year has been really big business, obviously. But I'd say in the last few months, it's starting to tail off a little bit, where people have already got Dunks now, and they don't need to bother, or they don't want to get more, or they've already got a surplus, they don't want to buy at the rate that Nike keep pumping them out. Whereas the mid machine just does not stop, and it just it keeps coming out, and people keep buying it, and resellers keep buying it, and I guess that's where it's at, isn't it? You can't access it at retail, and it's been like that for about 2 years now.
Yeah.
Normally, something has its time, it goes into the distance quietly.
Yeah.
This just won't stop at the moment.
And just another sub question off of that question. Go on. No, go on. Sure. What is your favourite shoe of all time?
Fucking hell.
Is that what you
I had that in my head, I had that in my head as well.
That's right. Have you got another one?
I've got another one.
Ah, cool.
Like I love Jordan 4s, obviously Jordan 1s, but that's really classic opinion right now, so it's a bit boring. But I'm quite fortunate that I've been collecting before those guys, so I've got I've got a lot of 4s. I can't think of many that I don't have. Maybe bred 4s in a 10 if anyone's got them. Message you guys, I'll buy them definitely. If anyone from down south that follows you. So I'd say 4s and 1s, but I have this Nike TN that's like a free TN. I don't know, remember it, with like a German exclusive with like different pattern on it. I'll try and find it. You might see how good your editor is, and you'll be able to pop it up. I'll message it for you. I'll find it for you.
Yeah.
And I love that shoe. I love the silhouette of it. I love the way that it's like. I just love a TN anyway, and then a Nike free sole's really comfy, and like that hybrid that they did. It's impossible to find. Can't find it anymore. I've worn mine when I was at 18 on a building site, and they're absolutely hammered. And I've been trying to find another pair for ages, and I can't find it. But if Nike said to me, like, came to me and asked if you wanted to do a shoe, I'd do that shoe. So I guess that's probably my favourite shoe of all time.
Great answer. This is just to touch on like the Jordan Mid topic, and like from more of a business perspective, but like working in retail, logistically we see trends running in different like locations. So like obviously you've got stores in Leeds, you've got stores obviously in the Midlands, and obviously if you used to open up a store down south, I mean in your current stores that you see, like especially from a sell-through perspective, do you see like different trends in trainers?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, because obviously as a culture, like it's pretty much generic if you like from the outside looking in. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm a sneakerhead, but I've definitely dabbled in it and sold my collection, and I'm bang on New Balances at the minute. I've been wearing for about a year, but I mean, it's pretty much like you were saying, like Dunks, Jordan Mids and stuff. But like, do you seem to find that in different like pockets of the country, people tend to buy more?
Yeah, you definitely get
generically,
that.
yeah.
If you go to like Liverpool, like if we opened in Liverpool, we'd open with like a much higher sort of Adidas demographic than what we'd ever have in our stores. That's up there. Leeds, they love like Vizier, like up tempos and 95s and TNs. They sell really well. Same in sort of in Knots. Knots is quite a sort of like roadman-y sort of scene, really. Not necessarily they're all roadmen, but they like to dress like roadmen, tracksuits and Nike Airs again. So
tech fleeces
and bits and bobs like that. So they do well here, whereas Birmingham, they're like premium brands and exclusive-y stuff that you can't sort of get. So yeah, there is definitely sales mix that you have to consider in different places for sure. And also just being able to have the freedom of that stock that's the hard thing. Like you can be aware of it, but it's finding the stock that makes sense at a price point to make it. Unfortunately for me, it'd make my life easier if I could just say like, yeah, everyone likes up tempos up there, so let's go and get them. But they're solid to find at the moment.
Yeah,
the same across the board. But like if we landed in London as well, the mix that we'd bring in London would be completely different to what we'd arrive in Leeds with. For example, like a Nottingham delivery and a London delivery would look completely different. Yeah, it's just because the customer is completely different. You have to be aware of that, otherwise you
might set yourself up to fail.
Exactly, and you're just throwing money at it, which is pointless. It's not a calculated investment. It's like throwing mud and seeing what sticks, really, in that regard. But there is a little bit of that anyway in stores. Like you have to give things a try, but you have to be prepared to sort of like move quickly when you like if it's something set in there and it's not selling. It's not like let's keep trying to sell this dead horse. Like you need to move and react to it, really. And that's the hard, challenging part.
Yeah. Yeah. No, great. And then the last question, we've asked this once before, but I'll adapt it slightly. Where do you see yourself personally and professionally in 5 years?
Personally, I want to be able to have a house, family around me. I think my big dream is to have a big family, because you didn't have a big family as a kid. So I want to have that. So working towards that, spending time with my loved ones, as you say. I'm doing some more like things for me. Like I was a big West Ham fan, so we touched on that earlier.
Yeah.
Great year. Seen none of it. I want to go and be able to do those sort of things, enjoy sort of little things like that.
Yeah.
Have the freedom to do it without feeling guilty to do it.
Yeah. So
they're the main personal goals. It sounds short, but bloody hell, it's going to take some work. And then professionally, this is a difficult one. It's like how far can you carry the can on that regard? I think it was always my dream to have a trainer shop, just at the start. And then once you do that, you've done that. So you sort of like, I remember feeling at the start a bit of a void. Like I felt like, oh, I've done that now. Like, what else am I going to do?
Gold medal depression, they call it. I was going to say exactly the same thing, Gold medal depression, it's like, when you win the gold medal, well, what's next?
Yeah, you feel like that's my life dream, and I've done it now.
Yeah.
What else am I doing in my life? But then it's sort of focused onto like how big can I make this now? But then that also become a bit of an unhealthy obsession. So you've got to find that balance.
Because then you're straight back to your relentless working and not making time for yourself.
Exactly. So I think I need to find that medium for me professionally. It's difficult to do that, and like the business is just snowballing on itself. It's like the handbrake's off. So it's not as much as I want it to slow down. It's not really in
your control.
Yeah. So I have to move and adapt with it.
Yeah.
And I just need to learn from my mistakes as well, better and faster, and implement those sorts of things. But who knows where it is? And like the guys at Kick Game, I think they started 2 to 3 years above me. I think they got £20 million this year, and their turnover is going to be 50 million or something like that. So that's
crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? So that's sort of what we're competing against. And if my name can be in the same breath as theirs, then we're doing good.
Yeah.
Considering it's me in a shed and my grandfather that started that. So I just see how far I can take it.
Of course, yeah. Absolutely. Well, I just want to say like a massive thank you for coming on and giving us your time, because I think after that we kind of understand just how precious that time is.
Yeah.
You know, you're clearly quite busy, but I mean, just like from when we met, like it's really like amazing to see like where you have taken it, and you know, like me and Hannah speak about it a lot, and we just wish you nothing but the utmost success.
I appreciate it. And,
so
same to you guys with your adventures and endeavours. That's the great thing about it. You know, you've always shown a lot of love and support for anything I would do.
Yeah.
And that's why when you messaged me, it was a no-brainer. I was always going to send that back to you. You know.
That's it. Like, you know, when you scratch people's backs, you hope they scratch yours, and that's exactly what it comes down to.
Community, doesn't it, really?
Yeah.
you might be looking after different fields. Thanks. So, even though like you're in different like, industries and stuff, like once you make them connections, and it becomes a community and a lifestyle instead of it just being more business based, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. I think we want to share those sorts of things, and
definitely.
And like I think maybe going back onto what you want to do in 5 years' time, like I think once I've got this to a place where it's self-sufficient and making money and it's doing all of those things, I'd love to go and sort of mentoring to people that like wanted to start businesses and ventures and find that struggle, because there is that lag. Like I did the Prince's Trust. I don't know if any of you have ever done it, but I did it.
I've not done it, but I've definitely heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I did that. Like my mum was like, "You don't know anything about business." So I went on that course for her, and I found like it was great, but I felt like it was more like ticking my box to make sure we got 10 people in the room. Tick that box. 10 people have turned up. The funding's going to arrive next week. Whereas I didn't actually get any like aftercare or any sort of support. So I'd love to do that. I'd love to help people that are trying to start their business and see if I can help them.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's a really like good aim to have like for the future. I think, you know, there's going to be, I think it's so important to especially teach. You're not taught at school how to start your own businesses or you're taught anything about the real world. Like it's fucking mental that they can put you through that until you're 16 years of age, where you can then start like dabbling with like gambling. You're not far away from needing to learn about credit and all of that stuff, and they just chuck you in the fucking driving, everything, just chuck you in the fucking deep end without teaching you anything about it. And it's fucking dangerous, like that they don't teach you these things.
Yeah, for sure. Like tax and VAT as well, and different things like that. You know,
it's insane. Like, and I think that, you know, wanting to help others is always going to be a good thing. So. But yeah, I think we can round it up there. But yeah, thanks again, man, for coming on.
Safe drive home, boys.
Yeah. Hopefully, only a couple of hours on the way back instead of the traffic.
Well, you're gonna have Basement Jacks on. Maybe
Basement
boys
Jacks
are gonna be popping.
Yeah, yeah, literally.
I might join in.
Yeah,
come drive down with you.
Yeah, you'll have to let us know when you do come down.
Yeah,
we'll grab a beer for sure, and we'll just have a catch up. But yeah, well, if everyone can follow us on social medias at The Average Joe's Pod, TikTok at The Average Joe's Pod, and we're now on Spotify as well. We've backdated our episodes. We did have a small error with the first two. We did lose the audio for it, unfortunately.
That doesn't sound like you.
Yeah, I know, it's the tech support guy.
Yeah, throw someone under the bus.
But so if you can subscribe to us everywhere, like it everywhere, comment everywhere, let's spread this word. We're getting some really positive feedback, so it's great. And I think that rounds that one off nicely. So thanks everyone for tuning in.